Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the TechTinkTronics channel. Today we're going to do From Dust to Digital Part 2. We're building old computers with modern magic. This part of the video is kind of a continuation of the last video because it got fairly lengthy. And basically what we're doing is the software part. We're going to see kind of what we could get to run on it, kind of test the waters a little bit. But I'm not going to actually install anything quite yet, and you'll see why. Um, Before we start, though, be sure to like the video on the way in, share the video with a friend, and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit the notification bell. And with that, we'll just start the intro. Okay, so make sure that you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you share the video if you want to, share the video, and like the video if it's something you like. Remember, the whole idea behind this channel is if I have a technical project to do, I will share it here. And I want to get back to the, I did the slides kind of wrong, so bear with me here. All right. So what we're going to do is we're still working on that Antec NSK 4400 case. The motherboard came from a compact. Our mission is to work the BIOS to ensure that it boots from the yummy multi-boot USB that we created in previous videos. We will use the cPart genome partition editor to wipe the disk of partitions. It's a quick wipe. And then we'll see if a 32-bit version of Windows 10 would install. I think for me, that's what I need to try and get to run to get any value out of this. And then if not that, we also have XP or Slacks, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. So if you're not already subscribed, make sure you subscribe to the channel, share the video, like the video on your way in. Once again, the whole idea is if I have a technical project, I will share it here. And then I also, too, want to thank you guys for your support. It's greatly appreciated. You can visit my link tree, and it's not like it's a bunch of other links that are related to me and stuff like that. So let's continue. All right. So some of the first things that we're going to do, that screen went too fast. Sorry. Sorry. All right. So what we're going to do is we need to get into the BIOS, and we need to configure the BIOS to read from the USB stick. And then we're just going to do a quick wipe of the hard drive of all previous partitions. We're just going to take the partitions off and just kind of have it be like kind of like a fresh drive. And then we're going to attempt to install an OS. We're going to find a modern OS to run. My pick is Windows 10, but it may not run. That's the thing. So stay tuned to see if it actually runs. And what we're dealing with is a 32-bit system. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to go into the BIOS. This is that screen. And what we find, well, I didn't go into the BIOS, but we ended up with a disk boot failure. Now, what we are doing is we have to determine the reason we're getting a boot disk failure. So, there are a couple of things on the table in which I have, or should have, that would help us determine what is the where the issue lies. Let's see here. So I had an adapter yesterday in my hand, and one of the first things I want to try is that adapter. This is one of the adapters that I used. You could see, like, I'm not really happy with the solder job on it, but let's see if we get power to it. So
we'll try it with this device first and then see. So I'm going to pull that Molex connector out. It's in there tight. And I'm just going to pull this piece off because I'm not 100% confident that it works. This piece here has lights on it. It might tell me something, it might not, I don't know. But if we could get a reading on the device, and I gotta line up these pins and holes, which is really hard from here, but I got it. And then we're just gonna try again to see what we get from this. And if nothing comes of this, what we could do next is that's different. What we could do next is try, maybe go back to this, but try this cable here. The only thing to do now is add power. Get my OBS on. Sure my cord is snug in there. Add some power to the power unit. Turn it on. And see what we get. Get my OBS on. Sure my cord is snug in there. Add some power to the power unit. Turn it on. And see what we get.
So here's what we got. We got into this. And then we got a disk read error occurred, so we had to kind of go back into the case and then see what we could do about that. It's fun. It's a little bit of troubleshooting involved. You'll learn a lot about your hardware as you go. You'll get error messages that you don't usually typically see, but can see on modern hardware.
So I'm going to try a couple of different things to get this SSD to work. So the thing now is we're going to have to try a different cable, at least, and see if that could be eliminated. That's the fun of doing this, is eliminating, putting a puzzle together and eliminating the pieces that don't work. So hopefully this works for us. Maybe we get a better signal, but I can't guarantee it. But we could try. But more than likely, I think we're going to get the same result, because the cable was last known to work. So I'm going to add some power. Everything's connected.
All right, so go back into it and start everything up. This time, it's actually trying to boot off the stuff that was previously on the hard drive, which is actually interesting. I had Windows XP on a laptop, and I was using this in that laptop. Now I just use that laptop as a paperweight, which is kind of interesting. So we got it to read from the disk and read accurately from the disk. That's very important and very crucial.
All right, we got something more this time. with a different cable. See if we start Windows.
It didn't start Windows.
All right, so now somehow with the cable that I added, it's actually reading off the disk, even though the indication on the adapter is red, which means it's not a good thing. So that tells me like this cable had an issue with it and it wasn't the adapter. Interesting. So the thing with dealing with old hardware is you have to take the puzzle apart and look at each piece individually, determine what the faulty part of the puzzle is. And that's what we determined. Now we have something we could actually work with. Now the next thing that I want to do is I want to see if we could get it to read off a USB. So I'm going to power it off. But it doesn't want to. It's not accepting my power off signal, but that's okay. But I do have a USB stick, and I want to see if this motherboard is capable of reading off the stick, because I don't do CDs anymore. So with that being said, I'm going to try power off. Check no signal. Add the USB stick. Make sure you're adding it in the right direction. Power on. And when we do, press F1 because it's a compact. And we're going to enter the setup. Okay. Then I want to work the boot menu to see if we could set some boot priority. I'm going to enable it.
So we're going to set the boot from USB. So what happens here is I'm going to go into that BIOS. The computer's booting up. Have to give it a second here. Timing is everything. You got the fan spin up, got the video signal out, and it should be coming through. And here we have the award BIOS version 6 PCs, detecting ID drives and all that. And in the BIOS, what you want to do is, one of the things that we're going to do is set the date. But once we have everything established, that's what we would do. So this is the BIOS screen, and we're in it. We went to the advanced, just take a general look around. And we're just making sure we didn't really need anything in the advanced menu. But, we wanted to enable a USB legacy support mode. Then what we wanted to do is mess with the boot device priority. Now, every BIOS screen is just a little bit different. So the thing that you're going to have to do is, work around your screen and just kind of figure out how to work it, read the instructions next to it, and go with your best, judgment in this. So I was having trouble moving that USB 3.0 up to where I needed it to go into the HD group priority 1. There we go. We have it there. At this point, the next thing you'd want to do is maybe like save and exit. And that's what we did here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to wipe the disk with gparted. Okay. And one of the things that an error, I made an error here. I messed up, and I'll show you guys what I did. So we're loading from that multi-boot USB, that yummy multi-boot USB that I had created in previous videos. So you should check that out if you haven't already. And basically, this is what it looks like when you load in the yummy. It has directories for all your different things. I have a directory for system tools that I'm going to go to, and I'm going to go and run gparted live. Now, here's where I messed up. This is a 32-bit operating system, and I'm trying to run a 64. So what you got to do is pay attention to what you're doing with your yummy boot stick, and make sure that you put the right versions of the software, because you'll get a message like this. This kernel requires x86 CPU, but only detected i686 CPU. Unable to boot. Please use a kernel appropriate for your CPU. So we knew exactly what we did wrong. We redid the disk, and we went forward with that. So now we did get gparted booted. And all I'm going to do is really simply, I'm just going to select the main partition, click the X, delete the selected partition, and that's all we're doing. We're just going to delete the partition, real simple. And then we want to click the check mark at the top there under help to make sure that we apply the pending operation. It only takes a split second to do. Save, close. I just hit close. And then the disk is ready for an operating system to be installed. So we'll quit, and then we'll go ahead and we'll exit out of gparted. It's a little tricky here, trying to exit. Just make sure that menu comes up. In this case, we decided that we wanted to reboot the system. So we've removed any live medium. And what we're going to do is we're going to try to load Windows, but unfortunately it failed, because what you're going to find is like some hardware is not going to be able to load Windows 10. We were trying to load Windows 10. I could get away with running XP on this for a fact. I could run Windows Server 2003, and I know I could run some light distros of Linux. And we'll see all that. So what's happening now is I tried a couple of different ways to get the Windows 10 system installer to load, and I just was not able to do it. What happens is you'll see, it'll go through the motions. Like first I tried to boot it in normal mode, and that's what we see here. And when you boot in more normal mode, you once again, you don't even get into it. It just goes out, reboots the system, and then it loads back into the yummy. Like nothing ever happened. It didn't even, get me what I asked for, which is really interesting. So what happens now, we're back in the yummy, and I guess we're gonna try a couple of things, so stay tuned. Make sure you like the video, share the video. We're gonna look at these Windows installers. I have both the 64 and the 32, but in this case I decided to boot the 32-bit version in WinBoot mode. WinBoot mode is like the Ventoy WinBoot mode is a mode that you use if you're having trouble loading it normally. And what it does is I imagine it loads it on your disk, loads the files up. I can't exactly picture how it does it, but it loads the files in a way that's different than what the previous option load normally would do. And that didn't work. Um, so I don't sit here for the whole thing and like I just kind of cut the video and it took a while for that option. So this is where we try other options and hope for the best. Um, so what we're going to do now is we're going to boot into the system. I got the black screen up, and here comes Phoenix Award BIOS. Okay, we're getting back into the memory stick that I created with the I created this memory stick a few videos ago, and it's a yummy multi-boot stick, very handy if you're going to do these type of projects. It's in your advantage to have a PC that boots off the USB or is capable of booting off the USB. Otherwise, you're gonna have to burn disk, and we could do that too. All right, now I know I could get away with installing Windows XP, but I really want to push the level of the and just see what the max it'll run. And I come to a conclusion, but I will should state that at the end of the video. So I'm trying different versions of Windows that I downloaded to see if I could get at least something to load. And then it didn't work. That's what happened really. So what it means to me is that this hardware was simply not capable of running Windows 10 the way in which I envisioned. But I tried this before back in the day. I tried to get Windows 10 on it before, and it boot looped. And like I did the installation, I did a memory stick with just Windows, tried to install it that way, and it boot looped. So for some reason, some hardware you just can't. And here's my theory on that. My conclusion is that Windows, if it could run Windows 7, you might have a chance of it being able to run Windows 10. But we'll test that theory going forward. Um, so I played around with different options, and that's what this segment of the video is. And one of the options that came up is, Slacks, like a really light version of Linux, and also a another version of Linux that I got into the menu on. You'll see that here in a second. And the one thing you have to be patient about is like sometimes it takes a minute for these menus and stuff to load. So I think the best thing we could do now is just go up. Let's see, try some um, unlisted ISOs. I was just going around looking around. I have more stuff that I probably want to install, but there was one more thing that I needed, and that was Linux ISOs. And there we have a couple of Linux, Q4OS, and Slacks. So I did the 32-bit version of those, and just to see if it'll boot, I did end up booting it in normal mode. I think it worked, which is really cool. And but I haven't decided exactly what I want to do on this PC yet, but just run some tests and try some different things and see what I could do with it. Um, but I want to hold on to it as is, keep it in the state that it's in um, for now, and research what I can upgrade this operating system to. We want to see if maybe we could get a Windows 7 or something like that. But hey, thank you for watching. The whole idea behind this channel is if I have a project to do that's technical in nature, I do share it here. Be sure to subscribe, share, and like the video. It really helps the algorithm, and we really appreciate it. Also, too, thank you for your support. Visit Linktree And you can see a bunch of links. It's not about all about money, but it's just links about everything TechTinkTronics.